BBL Supercoach is quickly approaching, and today we're going to be going through the guys in each team that have the best role and are most likely to score the most points. So when their doubles come up, you really need to be onto these guys, and it could be someone that's a little bit cheaper this year. Other years it could be Matty Short up top here and Jamie Overton from the strikers that are going to produce the bulk of the points, but it will change for each team. And we're going to go through down the list, starting with the Adelaide Strikers. But just a big shout out to Maxi Bryden of SC Playbook fame, who does the predicted 11s each and every year. So we're going to go through those guys. It shows the full squad and everything like that. So with the Strikers, they have a very much a later buy, a later double, I should say. No buys this year. And there are a couple of guys on this list that stand out, and it is Matt Short and Jamie Overton. There's nowhere else to not much else to say around this team. They are the two most expensive guys at 214 and 194, and we'll see what price that we can get them at come their double. Now, there could be other players in this side. We know there's guys like Chris Lynn that could take the game away from you at times. Will we have, by this point, an Alex Carey or something like that to pop in for a double right at the end of the tournament? We will find out, but they're the only real two guys that do stand out in that side. Let's move straight on to the Brisbane Heat, who are a lot more relevant in round two. They have a double, their only double for the season. When you're looking at the predicted 11 here, unfortunately does miss out. Spencer Johnson does miss out with injury, and no one else here should make the side apart from maybe a Lockie Hearn, who's been scoring really well in Shield at the moment through the middle. But looking at that predicted 11, we haven't seen Colin Munro score runs for a couple of years now. He did have 2 years ago a really good round one, and then fell away from there. But McSweeney, Renshaw, Allsop, Max Bryant, Hugh Weebgen there, all are just okay and not players that will take the game away from you or will help you lose BBL Supercoach, in my opinion. Down the list, I think there are a few of the bowlers that could really have a stormer of a round two. And the question in this side is going to be, come round two with both them and Sydney Thunder having the doubles, do you target, in my opinion, just the bowlers? I think is probably the play in this Brisbane Heat setup, with none of these guys really standing out as players that could go back-to-back good scoring innings, apart from maybe a Matt Renshaw at a decent clip. The other guys, McSweeney, a good player, but not in, bulk form, run like scoring runs form at the moment. And in terms of actual bowlers, Michael Neser stands out as an incredible cheap pick that can do really well. And batting near 8, him and Bartlett will share that sort of 8-9 depending on how things go. And Bartlett's a lot cheaper than what he was the year before, being up near 200k. Matt Kuhneman, pretty stock standard, not someone that's going to take the game away from you. And Shaheen Afridi is definitely someone that could take a bag full of wickets. That's where I think you could get a little bit excited about this side, is in that bowling setup. So I'll just go straight to, you got the batters there that aren't too much. You got Labuschagne, if we were to get him later, then sure, but that's not going to be the case. Renshaw played really well for a 53 average last year, and then McSweeney was 45.5. So Renshaw batted really well, but again, is not someone that I think will take the game away from you. But these bowlers that we're talking about here, Spencer was one of those guys last year, averaging 70. Xavier Bartlett, 48, but was up in that same mould as Spencer last year. Shaheen Afridi at 152, I think is a very easy candidate to look at in round one, and then potentially grab him for their double in round two, given his ability. And we'll have to see how how he ends up playing over here in Australia in that first game, and then deciding from there if you do have the cash available to be able to trade to him. But you've got Neser at 93k and Xavier Bartlett at 128. So in my opinion, two guys you could easily slot into your bowler slot, whether you have them on the bench or playing one of them. Bartlett seems fairly safe to play. We know that he can be generally consistent, but can also take a bag. And that's where, as I said, this season before, where he had an absolute stormer, can come into this season here. And Michael Neser at 93k is still doing really, really well in Shield stuff, and just didn't have a very full season there. As you can see, the 4 matches. And if he comes in fairly fit, then could come out and do an awesome job with the bat ball duel. So that is the Brisbane Heat there, and they are fairly exciting of a team in that first couple of rounds before they become less relevant. Moving to the Hurricanes, very, very important side. And straight off the bat, Mitch Owen, the guy that can absolutely take it away from you. He is a must-have, almost a must-captain, I think, in the first round. There's a couple of potential Sixers guys that you could target in that first double game week, but he has the biggest potential. You could vice-captain a Sixer, and then most likely captaining Mitch Owen. Other guys on this side, we're a little bit worried about Rehan Ahmed, who Maxi's got in that middle order there. He is injured at the moment, so there's worry that he's going to actually be fit for the Big Bash. So someone we'll keep a little bit of a closer eye on, because if he actually comes in and plays from round one, if he has could bat somewhere in the middle order and bowl some decent overs, then that would be awesome and a great pick at his price point. The batters, Ben McDermott, super cheap, wicket-keeping slot. Matt Wade, similar role, but is this how it's going to line up with them at opening in 3? Unsure at this point. We'll find out more very soon, but I think having one of those two could work really well. Having Tim David as a guy that can take the game away from you, he'd be an interesting one to leave out, and a scary one at that. So if he's actually batting at 4, I think is a great pick as a guy that could hurt you if you didn't. So there's that. Chowdhury, similar mold to last year, just got a big 100 as well. He's someone that can do really well, can bat 4, can bat 5, can bat 6, is somewhere in that realm there. And if he's up at 4 or 5, bowling potentially 1 to 2 overs, he could be interesting as well. Seems to do pretty well in the Big Bash the couple of years that he's been in there now, coming from being a rookie the year before to what he did last season. And then the bowlers, there's a lot to like here. We've got Rashad Hussain that has had big raps from guys like Ricky Ponting as well, and takes wickets at a good clip. So if he comes over here and is actually allowed to play this year and is fit and ready to go, he's someone that you could buy at a cheaper price. Got Stanlake potentially in there, or Jackson Bird in that last slot there. We're expecting Bo Webster to probably miss out, especially in some of those early games, being in that test squad, 12th man, that type of situation for him. I'd love to have him in the side. But if we're looking at guys that can take the game away from you, that can score really well in doubles in this team, it's Mitch Owen, it's Tim David, Ahmed if he's actually around, but you have to look at Nathan Ellis as one of those guys as well. Chris Jordan at a cheap price can have really big doubles as well. Didn't have his best tournament last year, so they're probably the top 4. And amongst that, there's guys like Meredith that could do a good job. Chowdhury as well. How I look at BBL Supercoach guys is just trying to have as many of the guys that can cook you in your side as you can. Last year, I thought I was pretty well covered. I did have a great season, finished in the 500s, but I did miss out in round 1 with Will Sutherland. He was coming back from injury. There was worries about him bowling and all that kind of stuff, but he was the only guy I didn't take in round 1 that had that ability to dominate. And he ended up being the best captain in round 1. So that hurt me a little bit. Wasn't crazy because he was the only guy I missed out on, but just it is something that you need to think about. He's an all-rounder type that can do a great job. So that's the Hobart Hurricanes, boys, and we'll delve into them a lot further, but I'm looking at, as you saw in the last video, go and check that one out, guys. The max involvement, it's a very important part of BBL Supercoach is getting as many opportunities to score points as possible. So check that one out. And Hurricanes are a squad that have so many opportunities in the first 3 rounds. They play 5 games. Moving to the Renegades there. They do have a few interesting players, but again, very similar to the Strikers, have a late double. Mohammad Rizwan has a tremendous record, batting at the top, getting catches as well. And he's someone that I definitely, it's piqued my interest. Has Ollie piqued my interest coming into the back part of the season. And the great thing with guys like him, with Fraser McGurk, you can watch them early, see how their form is, and then jump in later. Guys like Hassan Khan in the middle, being able to contribute with bat and ball. We know Will Sutherland, as I just said, can do that. And their bowling lineup is insane. Don't know if Doggett will be around, but you've got Berendorf moving over. You've got Zampa that can do good work. Tom Rogers in there with the bat and with the ball can be amazing. And you're looking down there, Josh Brown misses out on this side currently. He could open instead of a Caleb Jewell. It's probably him, between him and potentially like an Ollie Peak. Fraser McGurk should be there, you'd imagine. They spent a lot of money on him. And at this point, Fergus O'Neill not in the side, but I imagine he would come in for a Doggett. It just shows how, like, he would be, you'd definitely have Rogers, Barendorf, and Sutherland over him. It'd just be that fourth slot, and, Doggett's an Australian player now, so crazy. And then Gurinder Sandhu got 5 for 6 for or something on the weekend as well. So a very, very impressive squad, especially in the bowling lineup. And they very much have a few hit and miss type batters. So a couple of guys that can take it away from you in Rizwan, McGurk, we know can, and then a few of those bowlers. Barendorf can be awesome. Tom Rogers can be awesome, and same with Will Sutherland. So a fun team to target later on down the track, but not now. Stars, they're a little bit in between. They've got the double in 3, double in 5, with a bye wedged in between those two. So they're a squad that you will be wanting to have some players in your team early. Will it be 0, 1, 2 coming into round 1? That can be up to you. But there's definitely a few guys that could take the game away from you. One of them, by far and away, Glenn Maxwell. Don't have to speak much on him. He can do it both with bat and with ball. Averaged like 50 or something last year with the bat. Stoinis had a really good season, but can you buy him at that more expensive price point knowing he's been cheaper? You got Joe Clark, really cheap. Probably won't take it away from you, but it can be a really good value pick for sure. Tom Curran, we know, has the pedigree to be near a 200k type player. Didn't show it at all last year. He's had some blemishes on and off the field, unfortunately. Hasn't been scoring as well, plus the suspension was big. So he's someone that's going to be like that hit or miss type guy at this stage of his career as well, and with the Stars. And we know what the Stars can be like as well. But at a good price, he could definitely take the game away and make lots of cash, score really well. In terms of bowlers, Harris Ralph would probably be the only guy at this point, with Steketee being way too expensive to buy. It's very unlikely that you're going to see a really good score from him, according to the value that you're paying at that big price point. So you got Hatcher, Swepson, and Siddle, all guys that aren't going to cook you. And then if you're looking at the reserves, Campbell Kellaway, Harper, these types of guys could make the squad, but they also have a couple of guys to be determined and to be signed. There's two spots left on that list for the Stars. Perth Scorchers, they are an interesting bunch. You look at that top 4 and you're like, wow, any of those 4 could absolutely dominate. You go to 5, Ashton Turner played a really nice role for me last year. And then you've got Aaron Hardy at a ridiculously cheap price. Will he bat 6? Will he be a little bit earlier? Will we see Josh Inglis in this team, or will he be in the squad? Big question marks around him and that spot. But Mitch Marsh is a guy that could absolutely kill you if you don't own him. Very, very scary prospect, batting at the top, potentially bowling as well. Depending on how this side shapes up, they do have what looks to be Amali Bierman, Richardson, Matt Kelly in terms of their fast bowling cartel. They've got Paris, they've got Brody Couch there. They were paying a few different guys that can come into that side, but when you've got Aaron Hardy as sort of your 4th quick, and then you've got Mitch Marsh that could bowl as well, then you've got the spin trio of Agar, Connolly, and Turner. They are flush with bowlers, and I agree, they should only be playing 3 sort of bowlers there, with all of their all-rounders, with Ashton Agar always sitting around that 8 or 9. Aaron Hardy could definitely cook you, just at the value. Richardson, we know, can have big efforts. Beardman's a little bit expensive. Not sure if he's going to kill you if you don't own. Connolly, price point can be a little bit annoying, but he can hit the big hundreds, and that's what we're looking for, especially come round 4. Like he could be a really good captaincy option, similar to that of a Mitch Marsh if he is in a situation where he's bowling as well, will be amazing. And then Finn Allen, a very cheap price, we know can have big hitting innings and take it away from you as well. So they're a team that has lost a little bit, but bringing back Laurie Evans, be very hard pressed to see him batting at 7. So I'm not sure how this top 7 looks and how you fit things in. But when you've got so many bowlers and so many all-rounders, then you can play that extra batter that just sits at 7. And he's crazy. The quality of him at 7 is insane. So yeah, this squad can go really well again. And to have Mitch Marsh likely for the whole season, and not missing out with Cooper Connolly, yes, losing Barendorf, yes, losing Andrew Ty, but their batting in this scenario here is better than ever, almost, which is insane to say when you're missing, guys like Sean Marsh that were a mainstay for a while, and how good he was. What a cover drive. Sydney Sixers. Now they're a very important side. I have three doubles there, a couple of buys, of course. But looking at this side with Baba Azam coming into it, yes, they lose James Vince, who had really, really good seasons here in the Big Bash. But Baba, yes, a little bit out of form, but his white ball, definitely his white ball cricket has always been really, really good. Remember the early days of him playing Australia. Over here especially, he would come out and he looked incredible. Hasn't been the same for a while, but we know he has that in him, and his T20 international record is very impressive. So he's someone that could do really well. Philippi is a keeper. There's not a really high bar for the keepers, and Philippi could do a great job there for you, but won't destroy you if you don't own. The rest of the batters, it's a bit of a no. If we see Jack Edwards, he's got him in there at 6 max. He does. Good chance that he does bat there if this is how it lines up. It'll probably just depend around Dan Hughes and if he is selected in this side, and if he does, he should be at 3, you'd imagine. Do they have any injuries? And in that case, game to game, Edwards could be higher. But if he's batting at 6 and bowling 3 or 4, it's a very important role, and it's someone that could have a really, really good season, although he didn't last year. Dwarshes can be awesome and can have really, really amazing spells and hurt you. Sean Abbott, unsure around his hamstring. He may miss the start of the season, but he will be back very shortly thereafter. So we'll keep an eye on that one as we get closer. We're sort of 2.5 weeks out at this point from ball 1, which is very exciting. And then Sam Curran's out for a little bit. I believe he's missing the first 4 to 6 games. So for them, it's basically be ready for their second lot of doubles, round 6, something like that. And it would finish out the year, so it could be an interesting buy at that point. They've got Kane Richardson, they've got Menenti, who's played plenty, Joel Davies a bit as well, Lockie Shaw. Very, very stacked. Hayden Kerr could be a really fun one, especially if Abbott isn't there, but again, shouldn't kill you too much if you don't own, but could definitely be helpful. So that's the Sixers there. And now you've got the Thunder, who do have the double in round 2. We know what Constance can do. We know what Warner can do. Ollie Davies hasn't been in form at all, unfortunately. Billings should be fine to not have him. Bancroft could be a very easy second keeper to have at this point, but just being aware of buying at Constance or Warner in that round 2. It's still just bat only. Shadab Khan, batting at 6, bowling could be a fun one as well. So keep an eye out. Always keep an eye on the all-rounders. Being able to do both is so important. Daniel Sams is definitely someone that can take the game away from you if he was to be batting at 7 or 8 there, switching with Green and bowling a little bit better and getting a little bit more luck than he did last year. We know he's been one of the best wicket takers in the past, could be almost be 8 or so years now he's been playing Big Bash, which is crazy. Chris Green is another one as well that could do a great job just with that all-rounder capabilities with the bat and with bowling near 4 overs every single game. A lot of time they do get down here. They've got a couple of guys who can be a little bit shaky in T20 cricket, like Bancroft. Davies, Constance can be hit or miss as well. Billings seems to be pretty solid, but they'll get down fairly quick to Green and Sams if a couple of wickets are lost early, right? They should be able to get 5 overs at the end, which can be enough to face 10, 12, 13, 14 balls and get a 20 plus and get that bonus as well. Guys that will come into this side, Lockie Ferguson, but just after the first about 4 games, I believe. And the rest of the guys there, not expected, apart from like a Wes Agar, but he could be in there and ahead of like a McAndrew at this point. But we know he's done good work for Thunder in the past. Wasn't his best year last year, but we've got a bunch of players there that could do some great work. So that's the article from Maxi, and it's great to have people like him, and we had the clip there of the double game weeks, and then the buys from the boys from Braino there, and the inside boys. So great that they can create things like that for us, and I can go in and analyze them. It's very, very helpful. So I'll implore them to keep doing that. And if they are listening, shout out to you guys for that one. That's just a little general overview. That's how I play BBL Supercoach. That's how I'm looking to play in the NRL version as well. Is just looking to get as many of the guys that can absolutely hurt you in your team as possible, right? If you're buying them at a cheaper price, could they score like an elite player, right? Is it in their bag, or are they just going to slowly tick up in value? And when you're looking at NRL, you can go that way a little bit more because it's a longer season. In BBL, short and sharp, a lot of the time you're owning guys just for one round, and it's not going to matter too much how much they change in price, right? You're looking for points a lot more in this game than you are in NRL, right? You're looking for points and the value increase because you're holding them for longer than a week or two at a time. You're holding them for potentially 6 to 12 weeks and getting that value, getting the point scoring plus the increase in price. So lots of different things to think about, but even more important here to make sure you have the best possible players. Sometimes that is at a cheaper price if you can't afford the big dogs, but just knowing who has the best roles in each team is going to go a long way for you to do a really good job in BBL Supercoach this year. Kicks off 14th of December. Didn't end up putting the league code in the description of last one, so I'll check that. I'll pop that in for both, and yeah, enjoy.